I say dive in way too much. I'm trying
You
to
do?
avoid saying, oh yeah, if you go back and listen to the episodes, it's like
Dive in.
dive in. I say a lot of it. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jake Newton, host of the Chair 9 podcast. Today I'm sitting down with my friend Alicia Hartle. Alicia's a longtime resident of Tuolumne County and longtime rider at Dodge Ridge. So, Alicia, would you walk the listeners through kind of your background and who you are? Introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, Dodge Ridge family. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
This is so funny and weird. My name is Alicia Hartle, and I'm married to Daniel Hartle. And I was just talking with a friend. I have been married longer than I have not been married in my life.
How many years of marriage now?
We're going to have 28 years this summer.
That's
and
great.
I got married when I was 23.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been a few years of that, but it's sinking in.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see about me. I am Emily and Lillian's mom.
Some local faces here.
And we moved to this area, my husband and I. We found Dodge Ridge. We found Strawberry. We just moved here. I think I was 23. And we got to come up to this area and found Dodge Ridge and have been loving it ever since. This area is just like the best place on the planet. And we've built lives here. We've built business here. We've had our children here. And we are so thankful for everything we get to have here. So happy Dodge Ridge is right in our backyard.
Yeah.
We're just so lucky.
No, what a place to grow up. What a place. Where did you move from when you guys moved up here?
We moved from San Francisco.
Okay, that's quite the change.
Yeah. So Daniel is from San Francisco, born and raised, his parents too. And I'm from Minnesota.
Okay.
So I went to culinary school in Santa Cruz, and we met at a ski industry trade show in Vegas. I lived in Santa Cruz. He lived in San Francisco, and we met in Vegas.
Did you get married in Vegas that same night? Or?
Well, we told our friends and family that we did,
Okay.
but it was a lie.
Did they believe it? Did they believe it?
Oh, well, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were kind of different like that. But we did end up getting married on a Wednesday in City Hall in San Francisco. It was very low key, and that pretty much kicked off our lifestyle for the rest of, so far anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty low key.
How far after the fact from you guys meeting at this ski industry thing did you get married?
6 months.
Okay.
6 months. It was true love. It was love at first sight. It does exist. And I'll say I saw the aura. I mean, literally, it was like crazy times. I think I was 22, actually. I know I was 22. And then, so my birthday's in July. So I met him when I was 22, and I got married when I was 23. So
That's a quick turnaround.
yeah, I mean,
But it seems like it's
2
bode
kids
well so
and
far.
a bunch of stuff later. Yeah, it's great. It's actually a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of all the things that everyone's told you from the get-go. It takes all that stuff. Perseverance.
and then some.
Yeah, and then
some.
some. Yeah, it's pretty crazy thing. Like my hair. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I
had
know. I've got the flow going too.
It's good. It's good.
I think yours is looking
It's
better than mine
good.
right now.
I don't know. This is called salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper. Okay. I think that goes along with your history. You said you went to culinary school. You know a lot about spices and baking.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that and you said you moved up here. I know you from owning a restaurant, and a lot of people have probably seen you over the years at said restaurant that you're now retired from.
Yes!
Can you walk us through that and how starting a business and just
Cool. Yeah, I started working in restaurants when I was 14. So my best friend's dad owned a restaurant, and I liked working forever since the get-go. I started cleaning like for money and babysitting when I was like 9 and 11 and 12. And when I was 14, I actually could get a job, and I worked at a restaurant, and I've always worked in food service, and then ended up moving to California Ended up living in Santa Cruz. So fun.
Were you a surfer when you were down there?
I did learn to surf. I still surf. I'm still bad at surfing.
Okay.
I love surfing, though. It is great. Side note, most recently we've surfed in Hossegor, France.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Retirement.
This is retirement.
Something for everyone to look forward to.
Yes. So I ended up moving to Santa Cruz, and I ended up going to Cabrillo College in Santa Cruz. And so I was probably like 20, and I went and met with a counselor, and back then they handed you like a book, like a big like a calendar book, and it listed all the things you could go to college for. And so I'm looking through, and I get to the C's, and it says culinary arts. And I'm all, raise my hand, and I'm all, what's culinary arts? And they're all, it's cooking. And I'm all, wait, you can go to school for cooking? And they're like, yeah, we totally have this program and all this stuff. And I'm all, oh, that's it, sign me up. Totally in. And I did their 2-year program. I graduated from Cabrillo College with an associate in science degree in culinary arts and hospitality management. Lived in Santa Cruz, before it was like...
Before it was popping?
Yeah, so this is like, let's see, what year would have this been? Well, I graduated high school in 1992, so I'm 50. I'm 50 years old. I had a big birthday, and these glasses are very 50.
You're rocking them.
Thanks.
You're rocking them.
Yeah, so I went to culinary school, and I always worked in restaurants, and then I met my husband, and then we moved here and had a couple kids. And honestly, there was not really anywhere for me to work for. We ended up moving away for a little bit. I worked at Sonoma Mission Inn and Spa. I worked at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe. I went and did some stuff while I was green in culinary and did some more career development. And then we bought our home here, and there really wasn't anywhere for me to work, like with my level of training. And so
you made a place to work?
My husband, being a crazy entrepreneur who should be here with me today, but we didn't get the memo. And that's retirement too. And he's doing something else great. And he owned a snowboard company and called Solo Snowboards. And so he is an entrepreneur. And my family is I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. So basically he's like, well, you're going to open a business. And we developed Alicia Sugar Shack, and we put it all together and did the whole thing and owned it for 17 years, I think.
Just how many years ago did you retire from it?
2 years ago, January.
Okay.
January 13th, 2 years ago, we sold it.
Yeah.
And then I broke my leg.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What's the story behind breaking your leg? And then just,
Yeah.
you have this, you worked hard for your whole life. You own this
Ever.
business for 17 years. You finally retire, and then you break your
Ugh,
leg and you're laid up.
dumbest thing ever.
What's the backstory?
Well, the backstory is really I broke my leg doing nothing fun. So dumb.
You weren't surfing. You weren't throwing any crazy
I wasn't.
360s.
It was so dumb. I was staining at a remodel. I was staining the siding, and I wasn't even like staining. And anyone in construction will be all, oh my gosh, you didn't do that. So literally, I was staining cedar siding, and the drips were dripping onto my deck, which was the same color stain, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway if the drips would have dripped. But I put Tyvek down, because I didn't want the drips to ruin my decking. And then I stepped and I slipped and I launched and I bashed my shin. I broke my tibia so hard in half, completely in half. It wasn't like a small fracture. It was a huge break. And thank you, Dr. McDonald. Yeah. And I didn't have to have surgery or anything, but I knew it was broken immediately.
Were you home alone? Did you have to call 911? What was that process
Daniel was there with me. He literally was like, really? Are you sure you broke your leg? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And so I set my leg down, and it even cracked more, and my leg is broken. He picked me up just like a little bambina, and he put me in the car, and we just went to the ER, and Sonora Regional Adventist Health. They They were great. Triage. I was crying. It was very painful. It was the most painful thing.
That's no joke.
It was gnarly. It was actually more painful for me than birthing my children. And the whole experience, it was terrible. But I've gotten 28 days in snowboarding this year. I couldn't snowboard at all last year, so I'm making up for it this year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fresh out of retirement, you're traveling around, your legs all healed. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
not ideal for your first year of retirement.
No, and it was really humbling, and it was really it aided me in a lot of thinking about like all the things, and I got to reminisce, and I got to read, I got to watch movies, I got to count on my friends, which was really cool because I'm the one always I love helping people. I really do. I love being there for my friends and family and picking whatever up they need at the store and driving people's kids, and I love helping. But I actually had to ask for help quite a bit. Daniel was obviously the most helpful, and my girls were very helpful too. And my friend Meadow, she was so helpful to me, and we went. I had a cast up to my thigh for like 2 months. Well, 2 different casts. And we went to go see at SRT, we went to go see Misery, where he like knocks the author's legs and breaks his legs, cobbles his legs. And literally I was like, oh, like it hurt inside and out. But we knew that was happening. We did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So 2-part question for you.
Okay.
One being, coming out of 17 years of owning the business in hustling, I know at one point I came and made a little video for you and saw what you did at 4 a.m. You're waking up at 4 a.m. baking all these things. You're go, 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 go. So going from go, 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 go to breaking your leg and being laid up, kind of touching on that and what that experience was like. The second part of the question is, now that you're back out and riding, do you cherish it more than you did before?
Well, yes. I literally had to learn to re-walk. I'm so thankful that I persevered and like could get to where I'm at today. So yeah, like the go, 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 like that's who I am. So I really, when you're in it, like, yeah, it's physically hard and challenging and all this stuff, but I am that person. So I loved being busy and working, and I did not love getting up super early, like that early. I am a morning person, although now morning to me is like 7:30, not 3:30.
Not 3:30 in the morning.
No. So basically, I loved my busy life, but then being forced to slow down like that was pretty gnarly. And we did, after I learned how to re-walk, basically. Oh, and thank you, Byron. Byron was my physical therapist. He was just great. We worked through a lot of stuff because pain is a gnarly thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was mental for me, like being scared. So anyway, yeah, getting back to snowboarding this year, Emily took me out, my daughter. And she is like one of my safety blankets because she literally was like, okay, Mom, we got this. And she was so caring with me. And it was one of those days where the only access to the mountain was chair 5.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not getting off chair 5 on my first day back of snowboarding. So basically we hiked up to 7, and then we got on chair 7 and we made some runs, and it was great. And, you know, like now being 50, you have time to hopefully stop and think about a couple things. So I did. So my first couple runs, I actually did have pain in my brake site because where it is, it's like at the top of my boot. Mm-hmm. And so I took out my boot stiffeners. Thank you, Vans, for, having removable boot stiffeners. Yeah. So I took my boot stiffeners out, and then it was a little painful, but for the first few times, but yeah, like 28 days later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about signing up for the bank slalom even
this
year. So
that'd be quite the welcome back.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm an old lady, so I'm gonna be in like the old lady category. So
I'm sure you'll do great. Well, Zach, who's behind the camera right now, and I the other day, we were out in the bowl after that last storm where we got some powder, and you guys were throwing down some turns. Like, well, I totally forgot that you had broken your leg the way you were riding. So it's
okay,
good to see that.
Yes.
Good to see that confidence
Yes.
instilled back in you.
Yes.
So, well, with retirement now, what are you up to? I heard you went surfing. Where did you say?
Yeah. Well, we went to Europe for 8 weeks. It was awesome. We hadn't been to Europe since we were first married. So we keep doing Mexico. We love Mexico. We did El Salvador. We love El Salvador. But we decided to go to Europe this summer, and we targeted this area. So Daniel kind of picks these areas, and then I research and do like the legwork. So he'll like throw down a name, and then I'm like, all right, I'm in. And so then we go. So we targeted this really cool area of France called Hossegor.
Okay.
The bigger town is called Biarritz, France, and it's in the southwest of France. So it's on the Atlantic side, Atlantic Ocean, and it's the surfing hub of Europe. Like, it's insane, and it was so fun. And then we drove in to France. Side note, we're Catholic, and little known fact, we're Catholic. So we, my mother flew in to Biarritz, and we took her to Lourdes, France, which is this huge Catholic pilgrimage place. And we spent some time there, which is in the foothills of the Pyrenees.
Okay.
And so we drove up into the Pyrenees. I drove up into the Pyrenees. So gnarly driving in Europe. Like, thankfully it's on the correct side, the
right
proper
side. Yeah.
side drive for me. And I got not a stick shift purposefully,
Yeah.
like all these things. And so anyway, we drove up to the Pyrenees, to this town, and man, I want to go skiing and snowboarding in the Pyrenees now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we've been traveling a lot. Super fun traveling. We're remodeling a house. We're working on Dan's bus.
Yeah.
He has an awesome school bus we're working on. Let's see. We obtained our residency in Mexico.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yep. So, 3 of us are residents in Mexico, so we go in as non-tourists. We go in as residents. We can stay as long as we want. And yeah, it's super fun just having like the world as your oyster, and I've always have, but it's really coming true now that I value experiences rather than things. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with these experiences traveling, you've also had many memories here at Dodge Ridge. What is something, I mean, you go all these beautiful places and you have this beautiful place as your backyard. What is that like?
Well, I always love coming home. We are so lucky to live here. It's so everything, the mountains, the quiet. I mean, I'm from Minnesota. It's flat there. I just love the mountains. I love the river. All my friends know where to find me. If I don't answer my cell phone in the summer, you know where I'm at. Secret spot, not telling. But
I'm
do
sure
you know?
I know a few spots. I won't say it. I've ventured down there,
Yeah.
I think, with Emily before.
Yeah,
so.
our kids have been swimming in that water. But like Dodge Ridge, like for instance, Emily, I was pregnant with her when we've worked here, you know. We first started working. I first started working here when I was, I think, must have been 24 years old. So I was pregnant. Oh, no. Yeah, 23. I was pregnant with Emily when I worked in marketing for Michael Adinig. Hi,
go.
Michael, if you're watching. Look at me. I'm all grown up. So basically, you know, working in marketing, doing the snow phone, early morning, being pregnant with Emily. We had her first birthday at the lodge. Like, Emily took her very first steps at Dodge Ridge.
Wow.
On her first birthday in the Motherlode Lodge. Like, literally, so many memories here. I want to say, Emily, we put her on skis at like 15 months. She's been, you know, and then
That's why she's got that perfect form. She shows up on her Instagram all the time.
She's such a good skier. And then, you know, Lillian, same thing. I think she was born in January. So I want to say 18 months, started her skiing and snowboarding. They both went to Pinecrest School, just living this life of like small, slow down lifestyle that I think people dream about. And we've like built this life unknowing we were doing it all along. But like, I think just if you keep, I've always kept like my true self. I've always wanted to just like be me and follow what feels right. And living in a small town felt right. Like I've never desired to live in a big city, although now I love visiting them. I love,
the buzz of the city is exciting. For
It
sure.
is. It's so fun. And Daniel's really good at city life and trains.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Being from San Francisco, does he ever miss it, or is he pretty happy with the small town as well?
He loves small town stuff. And his dad still lives in San Francisco. And we basically love visiting cities. But he's great to have on hand in any city like Tokyo. He can navigate those trains. I mean, I would just be lost. I don't even know. He navigates things but yeah, it's really, really great to come home to this lifestyle. We are so lucky. You're so lucky. I mean, I moved here when I was like 22. I didn't get to grow up here.
Yeah.
You guys have such a good crew. Such a good crew of
crew.
Kids watching all these guys grow up.
And it's been, that's how we, I think, probably first originally met, was you've seen me growing up through the Catholic Church and just being itty bitty with Emily and growing up. So it's great. So can you touch on, I'm sure that you've made so many friendships being that you were the first face people saw on their way up to Dodge. Do you still see people out here that recognize you from that? Do you still, I'm sure people probably don't even realize that you've sold the business and are now retired. Is any of that going on?
Yeah, true story. It was like me for so long. I loved doing my like people of Earth and beyond, good morning.
The Facebook Lives.
Yes.
I love the Facebook Lives.
Yes, I love doing my lives. I miss, like, if you say, what do you miss about working and your business? I miss my people, obviously. I miss all my customers. I totally loved all my customers and seeing everybody every day and being a part of that vibe, and eventually, like, as the business grew, I would be like, oh, it's snowing. I'm out. Like, you guys have to handle this. Like, I'm going snowboarding. It's a powder day.
I guess that's a nice thing about starting your own business, is that you're your own boss. And if the POW is good, you can you can dip out and head to it.
Yeah, and you don't have a wedding for 200 or lunch for 75 or whatever. Like, there was some days where I'm like, I did miss a lot. But thankfully, I have a great partner, Daniel, who took the kids to soccer and all this stuff. But yeah, I love seeing people around in here, and people like recognize me, and then don't even know I sold it. And I sold it to another mother-daughter crew who's doing a great job. Jesse worked for me off and on for like 7 years.
Okay.
I stopped there this morning and had a motherload cookie. It was so good.
Yeah.
I messed up that cookie. It's so funny because people are always like, oh, the baking, it's so good and this and that. I'm like, I don't even do it.
I'm not even there anymore.
I don't even, and even when I was there and now, I'm like, I never even, at the beginning, I did a ton of the baking and like the physical, and that's like my favorite part. I went to culinary school for baking, and I love baking. It's like my hands-on trade, but my bakers did it more than me. Like, they were so good. Jessie, who bought the business with her mom, and Jewel and Meadow and Leah and Britt and all these crews of women that they're like my sisters now, just love it. But yeah, this community is so small that it's hard. We were in Barcelona and I ran into people that knew me in Barcelona.
Small world.
Yes.
Wow.
Like, what? So these sunglasses are great, and a hat sometimes. I'm
like, you can tuck back and go undercover a little bit. Yeah.
But I do love traveling sometimes for that reason too, because nobody does know who I am for the most part.
Unless you're in Barcelona.
Unless you're in Barcelona.
Big name over there.
In literally a concert of like 4,000 people, and people come up to you and know you. Yeah. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
That's funny. Last year I took a road trip and I was riding over in, I think I was at Snowbird or maybe Brighton in Utah. And I was riding with some buddies from college because I went to college out there. And then they had to leave to go to work. And so I I don't know, I'm a pretty friendly guy and like to make conversation. So I load the chair with this guy and we're riding up and he asks where I'm from. And I'm like, oh, like small town near Yosemite. That's just kind of the classic go-to. And he's like, oh, what town? And I was like, oh, like Twain Harte. And he's like, oh, I work in Mariposa in the summertime. And then he's like, do you know this person? I'm like, we just had crazy connections.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it really is just a small world. So.
This world's gotten smaller.
Yeah.
I swear.
It's pretty amazing. So
yeah.
Well, you talk about this team that you built. You dropped some names. You got Jewel, you got Jesse who owned it. Kind of the parallels that I draw to Dodge is, yeah, it's a small town and we've built a really good team here and you have those connections. And then, you know, when stuff hits the fan and it's getting chaotic, you know that you can depend on each other and that the job's going to get done no matter what. And then you have the really good days where things are firing on all cylinders and things happen without even having to say what's going on. So yeah, that's a great thing about the small town community is that, yeah, you can build those relationships. So
yeah. And, you know, I just love the vibe at Dodge Ridge. You know, of course I knew Frank and Sally. They had me cater at their house and I loved, you know, our relationship with Frank and Sally. Sally and Katie they were one of the only people who visited me in the hospital when I birthed Emily.
Wow.
Because we didn't have very many friends and Emily was 5 weeks early and they came and gave us like her blanket. And it's, I think, still her blanket till this day, like her baby blanket. Katie and Sally gave it to Emily.
Wow.
So we have like a huge connection with them. Just love them, you know, like, and then now Carl and Audrey, like, it's leadership at its finest right now. Like the vibe is so on and fun and family and safe and good and healthy and all of the good things. Yeah. So I just Dodge Ridge is like a gem. So you all should come, but don't come.
We ran into a gentleman earlier. He was from New Zealand, and Zach was wearing his jacket. It's got the big old Dodge Ridge media team logo on it. We're standing in line, and he's like, "Oh, you're part of the media team?" And Zach's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You guys got a good thing going on here. I came all the way from New Zealand." He's like, "You can't promote this place." He's like, "I want you to, but I don't want you to at the same time because this is a gym. This is a hidden gym." And yeah,
seriously.
He's just talking about coming all the way over from New Zealand and riding here and just how great it is. So
it's so true. And like throughout the years, we've all talked about. I mean, so when I worked here in marketing, was when there was buzz of Chair 8. So Chair 8 wasn't even built yet. And Michael Ledenning, he organized these cat trips. And they were doing cat skiing. I couldn't go because I was pregnant with Emily.
Oh, man.
And basically, so all of that, the history and the everything. So, and we've all talked about, oh, they're putting in a lift, high-speed quad, but really, and then we all talk about how it would just get tracked out. And so I love our Chair 8. I love Chair 7. I love the fact that we just have our lifts here.
And it kind of slows you down. And some of my favorite memories at Dodge are riding up the chairlift with you got that 10 to 12 minute, 10 to 13, maybe 15 minutes on a slow day, which isn't a slow day. There's hardly any lines and it forces you to have conversations and really soak it all in. So.
And it kind of just matches the whole vibe. Just we're a little bit more laid back, like our chairs here.
Yeah, very laid back. Very laid back. I was more laid back earlier. We didn't have the cameras rolling, but I almost went backwards. So
yeah, that was like pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. So awesome. Well, any final stories you want to share? Anybody you want to shout out? Some of your favorite memories here at Dodge Ridge specifically? Anything of the sorts?
Let's see. Well, oh my goodness. Well, I love your entire family, the Graham fam. You know, just the best family ever.
I know Artie was gonna sit down for one, but I think he got a little nervous. I told him I would make him sound good, and I think he sounds good anyways. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah, Artie's great. Yeah. You know, so fun. I love skiing with Gene. Well, so here I say skiing. But I snowboard now, so I do both.
Okay.
I started skiing when I was like, I don't know, 10 in Minnesota. and then moved to Tahoe and learned how to snowboard when I was like 18. And then when I had the kids, I taught them how to ski. So I reverted to skiing. And then now I don't have any, it's just me, and I reverted back to snowboarding.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm thinking about getting a split board. Emily
Wow.
keeps saying, "Mom," but I don't know. That is a lot of work. But anyway.
Earning your turns,
Earning my
as they
turns,
say. Yeah.
exactly. And now I have the time. Yeah, so I don't know. Dodge Ridge is just great. All the memories that we've built here as a family. You know, I've had friends married at Dodge Ridge. I've had, like, my friends Autumn and Jorian, they met here and are married today. They met working, like, in the rental shop. I mean, you know, Trinka and Dane.
Mariah's,
Mariah,
my cousin, and Jean and Artie's daughter.
Yeah.
Had her reception here after getting married in the church. So.
Yeah. Emily and Carson's first date was here. You know, I mean, it's just like a great place to make memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, here's another memory added to the bank is sitting in the snow with our crazy hair
I know.
and chopping it up.
I needed my hat or my helmet. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So awesome. Well, yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and Alicia, thanks so much for bringing the energy and
Yay.
being willing to sit in the snow with our crazy hair together.
I'm gonna kick my feet
Yeah,
up.
there you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. No, it's a great
Fun.
day. Great day.